Hello, Wobbly Phil here. A bit of a gear change as I've decided to take a break this week from topics that attract thousands of views and instead go for one that will probably be watched only by the other two Phils and maybe a bored cat. The past weekend saw the temperature here in the south of England soar to the giddy heights of 17C. That's 62F in old money. It's a heat wave. Spring has sprung. So I thought it was about time to see if the Triumph Trident would fire up after its winter hibernation. Will it? Won't it? Let's find out. The old girl has been tucked away in a nice warm shed for almost 5 months. This, you might recall, is the T160 I bought in 2019 and then spent a further £11,000 on, getting a slight oil weep from the top end fixed. I know, it's a long and harrowing story, and if anyone wants to catch up, I've put a link to the video I made about the entire farrago in the description. The short version is, because I'm a mechanical numpty, I sent it to the best triple shop in the UK just as the COVID lockdowns began, meaning there was no way to go and personally check in with the old gippers doing the wrenching. Being the thoroughbred racing-orientated types they were, they stripped down the entire engine and rebuilt it to TT standards. Ka-ching! Anyway, I'm over it all now, and the good news is that, amortised over the next 50 years, the entire project, including the cost of the bike, will only set me back a paltry £400 a year. So I'll be able to look back on my 111th birthday with a certain amount of satisfaction. The engine could now be considered bulletproof, although I don't want to tempt fate. A good sign is that it hasn't leaked a single drop of oil in 4 years. And believe me, I've been revving the nuts off it. I keep the Trident cosy over the winter months with some inexpensive low-level heating, just enough to ensure the temperature doesn't drop below the dew point, which is probably somewhere in the region of 9 degrees centigrade. The battery's been on a trickle charger all winter. I prefer these Optimate chargers as they have circuit protection to prevent your pride and joy from bursting into flames, as happened to my Norton Commando in the 1990s when some experts worked on it and assumed it was negative earth. For ease of use, my mate Phil, yes, all my friends are called Phil, who has owned both his Commando and his Trident for 50 years now and knows everything there is to know about them, put an X marks the spot, or rather a plus marks the positive, here for me a few years ago. The oil level is fine. I've watched so many YouTube videos where barn finds have been fired up after 40 years with just a fresh battery and a squirt of
Winds, start your basket.
Without ever bothering to check the oil levels. It's enough to make you weep. Fresh spark plugs are also a good idea. I find the middle one tends to soot up because I've never been able to set the mix quite right for the centre pot. It's a fiddle in the middle that's a pain and a strain. I usually drain out all the petrol and replace it with a few litres of non-vintage 99 octane fresh from the pump, if I can find any. I've made a video about how the ethanol in today's petrol, in inverted commas, turns to glue over a period of just weeks, through contact with water vapour in the air, leading to gummed up carbs and a whole other level of frustration. Again, the link to that video is in the description. For this video, however, I'm going to risk starting her up without replacing the petrol. Here we go then. Taps to on, both taps including the reserve, as these 3 amyl carbs appreciate the floodgates being open at all times. I just keep an eye on my mileage and remember to brim up regularly. Tickle all 3 amyls. There's no choke on my bike, although I have seen Tridents with chokes fitted. I'm going to use the electric start rather than the kick start because I'm fed up with trying to find trousers that fit. Just hold the throttle open a tiny bit until it fires. It definitely won't start if I grab a handful. And contact. There you go, all set for a bit of a burn around the Kent countryside. Or, as national newsreading treasure Sir Trevor MacDonald once called it, live on News at 10, No, I can't go there, I'll be demonetised. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing to let YouTube know we're doing something right here at 3 Phils. Thank you.